Is it possible that you may be holding on to some beliefs that are keeping you from attaining your best health yet? Probably. Many of us hold on to beliefs for years and sometimes even decades, and these beliefs couldn't be further from the truth. In this video today, I'm going to talk about lies, specifically 6 lies that could be keeping you sick. Before we get into it, I'm Dr. Amina Goodwin, for those of you meeting me for the first time, and I'm a physician and a health coach, and I help overweight people with blood sugar problems fix those problems without having to take more medicines. All right, beliefs. In psychiatry, people who have fixed but false beliefs, they are diagnosed with mental problems. They're said to have delusions. But the truth is, all of us at some point in our lives probably had or held on to beliefs that were false. They were fixed in our minds, but they were actually false. But most of the times we get over these beliefs and we get on with life in a wholesome, healthy fashion. But where health is concerned, there are 6 beliefs, or 6 lies rather, that I really want to address, because once you realize, sometimes we don't realize because we don't think about some of these things in detail, and so we don't realize that these beliefs are keeping us back. They're keeping us sick. So the first lie that is possibly keeping you sick is that, oh, I don't like healthy food. I don't like vegetables. I don't like the taste. And I remember specifically talking to a patient about this once, where he was like, but doc, I just don't like vegetables. What am I supposed to do? And I said, think of yourself as a baby. When babies are just being weaned, they do not want to eat what you're giving them. They prefer to take the milk, the formula. They don't want the food. But do we say, okay, well, don't bother. We're going to just keep giving you milk, or we're going to keep giving you formula? No, we do not. We keep giving them these new foods. We find different ways to prepare them. We find different ways to flavor them. We try different types of vegetables and other different types of fruits. And initially, they might reject these foods, but gradually they take it in another way. And we try, and eventually you have a healthy toddler who is eating down the town, okay? And so I think that adults can also see themselves as being weaned, because you are being weaned. If you're not accustomed to eating vegetables and other unprocessed foods that really do have a different taste, they have a different texture in the mouth, and if you're not accustomed to those foods, it's going to be difficult. But the good news is that your tongue, your taste buds actually can get used to new tastes. Your mouth can get used to new textures. And just like a baby, you need to introduce these things one by one, prepare them, try them in different ways, different modes of preparation, and just tell yourself that these things are good for you. And if you could have done it as a baby, or if you have children and their children started eating foods, different foods, new foods as babies, then you can do it too. You really can grow to like vegetables and healthy foods in general, okay? The second lie that you might be telling yourself is that, oh, I have bad genes. It runs in my family. My mother cursed me with these bad diabetes genes. Okay, yes, there are genes, there are tendencies, genetic tendencies to many different diseases, but the fact is that a genetic predisposition, like so being predisposed, having an increased chance of a disease, does not mean automatically you will get the disease. It's not a predetermination. And so whereas we have genes, and sometimes, and I do recognize that some people have some really bad genes, I mean, like there's specific cancer genes, BRCA1 and so on, and those genes almost certainly determine a fate of cancer for people, and so they have to undergo different procedures and so on and so forth. But generally speaking, if you have a gene that increases your likelihood of certain diseases, there are things that you can do to decrease the chance of those genes expressing themselves. And these are environmental things. So specifically what you are eating, toxins you might be exposed to in the environment, example, cigarettes and alcohol and so on. And generally speaking, as the saying goes, your genes load the gun, and your habits pull the trigger, something like that. I might be botching that, but essentially you can do a lot of things in terms of decreasing toxic exposures and so on, so that you limit the chance of these genes, bad genes, rearing their ugly head and causing outright disease in you, okay? So yes, you might have bad genes, but it does not mean that you will definitely get the disease. And in fact, more than bad genes, I like to say that people have inherited lifestyles, inherited ways of eating, more so than inherited genes. Yes, you have inherited genes, but you inherit ways of living and eating and so on, because of being exposed to everyone else around you doing the same things, okay? And you can change those behaviors and lifestyles in general, okay? Third lie that you might be telling yourself is, I don't have time to cook. Well, yes, we are all busy, and we are always going to be busy. In fact, I sometimes think, okay, I changed my job, or whatever you might change and say, okay, I'm going to have more time. No, in my experience, you never have more time. Like, I never ever, in fact, I have less and less time, right? So we just have to organize our lives, organize ourselves in a way that we schedule time in to do the things that we need to do. In fact, generally, if something is important enough for you or to you, you figure out how to do it. Now, one thing I started thinking about very recently is the fact that in the household, say, for example, the mother or the wife or the woman in the household is the one that's in charge of preparing the food, right? Cooking. You can have other people, if you're not living alone, you can have other people helping you, and specifically children. I was thinking the other day that I wonder if children are still helping with chores, because when I was growing up with my sisters, we all had to help with the food preparation. Somebody had to cut up the vegetables, somebody had to cut the onions and the garlic, somebody had to wash the dishes. And so if you are in a household with other people, you need to let those other people help, especially if they're children. Children need to be given chores. This is how they are going to learn for themselves how to prepare their food, so that they get used to being in charge of their eating and overall their health, right? So don't take this on alone. Find somebody to help you, or other people in the household. And then if not, like I said, schedule it in. And if all else fails, the supermarkets do sell, many supermarkets sell pre-prepped foods, vegetables that are already cut up, onions and so on and so forth. So you can find ways to have pre-prepped food to make your meal preparation easier, okay? Fourth lie is that being on medication is a normal part of life, be a natural part of life. Being on medications is not a normal, natural part of life. Medication before, obviously people died from diseases, preventable diseases back in the day, especially infections. But infections are not the problem causing people to have a lot of difficulties in hospital and so on. It is lifestyle related diseases, and those diseases are what we have a lot of new medications coming on the market to treat. But being on medicine is not normal. People would think, okay, I'm 40, I'm 50, it's normal to me to be taking high blood pressure medicine. It's normal for me to be taking diabetes medicine. 50, 60 years ago, this was not normal. Hardly anybody was taking 5, 6, 7 medicines as they are now. And so you have to realize that because everybody else around you seems to be taking several medications, this is not a normal existence for human beings. Human beings we were designed to be able to function, right? Our bodies are actually very, very smart. And sometimes what the medications do is that they confuse our bodies. And when the body's confused, and so more abnormalities and irregularities arise because of this confusion and the body not being able to function properly, okay? Fifth lie that you might be telling yourself that's keeping you sick is that it's normal to get sick as you age. Again, just like how it is not normal to be taking lots of medicines the older you get, it's really not normal to get sick as you age. The unfortunate thing is that in the busy life that we find ourselves in, we have less time to move around. I don't want to use the word exercise, but anyway, less time to move around, less time to get out in nature, less time to have fun. And so because we're so busy and bogged down and stressed, that is what is promoting disease. But it really is not natural to be sick. In fact, just 20 years ago when I was in medical school, it is the oldest of old, like people really at the end of their life who would come in suddenly sick for the first time. And then in many cases, they would die soon after, but they were older. But people are now finding themselves sick in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and then living for 20, 30, 40 years with sickness, living, having to be on a lot of medicines, having decreased productivity and decreased quality of life for all these decades because of getting sick so young in life. But it really is not normal to be sick. You should be able to be having a nice, healthy, active life until just before you die. Then maybe there's some illness, or better yet, you die in your sleep, like one of my great aunts did some years ago. She died in her sleep at 96 years of age, okay? And that's how it was back in the day. And the sixth lie that you might be telling yourself is that for any illness you have, medication, pharmaceutical drugs are the only solution. Pharmaceutical drugs are an aid. Sometimes I like to see pharmaceutical drugs as a bridge. So our bodies, like I said, the human body is smart, and the body is able to heal itself, but we have to allow it to heal itself. And sometimes medicines are needed, especially infections. Obviously you need antibiotics to kill the germ, okay? But for chronic lifestyle related diseases, essentially you need to give the body what it needs, especially where food is concerned, so that those functions can become efficient again, the organs can function properly, and you can then be weaned off medications that you only use as a bridge rather than just, automatically to be on for life, for the rest of your life, okay? So these are the 6 lies that you may be telling yourselves. And again, they seem like truths because it's just normal. It's what everybody else is doing, but this is not how it should be. Quickly, again, those 6 lies that you might be telling yourself that are keeping you sick. 1, you don't like the taste of, or let's just say it in first person. The first lie, I don't like the taste of healthy food and vegetables. Second, I have bad genes. Third, I don't have time to cook. Fourth, being on medication is a normal part of life and aging. 5, it is normal to get sick as you age. And 6, medication is the only solution for illness and disease in general. I hope you all found this enlightening, and that you will think about some of the things that you might have other lies that you might be telling yourself, and maybe you will take some time to pause and think about you might be believing that probably isn't true. And once you overcome those beliefs and start now working and moving in the right direction or the opposite direction, and you can start turning your health around and feeling better and better the older you get. Thanks for watching this video, and see you again on the next one. Bye bye.